Well, hello, everyone who's still awake at 12:20 in the morning on a Wednesday, Thursday. I guess it's Thursday now. Welcome to a post-game live stream podcast of the Missing Wolves. I'm Andrew Dukowitz from Zone Coverage. KingaBee is with me again today, and she's throwing everyone off with putting her actual real name in the description.
Yes.
Kinga, how's it going though? How's your blood pressure doing?
So I'm a very anxious basketball watcher to begin with. So the minute that overtime started, I was shaking like a leaf. I had the yearbook in my hand and I had to set it down because I literally could not hang on to it. So my legs and my entire body was shaking for 5 minutes straight. This was incredible and up and down and just a crazy ride.
Yeah, I mean, we should first say like largest overtime comeback in the shot clock era, like 13-point comeback in 3 minutes is like historic and wild. Also, like choking away an 11-point lead in 3 minutes is pretty historic and wild.
Well,
I'm just convinced at this point that this team is incapable of not doing things the hardest physically possible way they can, but I mean, it works, I guess.
It's just, like that, what was it, like game 7 against Denver, like who would have thought that they would have come back to win that game being down 20? And that's a game that I didn't watch because I was too anxious. So I was in our bedroom. My husband was upstairs and he was just like texting me of what's happening because I was like, and then when he started turning around, he's like, you need to come and watch this. And I'm like, okay. But
yeah, I mean, you couldn't escape it today. You were in the arena, weren't you?
I wasn't. Yes, I was there, and like you and I were messaging. I'm like, I don't know if we're ever going to leave the stadium. Like, do I need to like start renting this spot where I was sitting? Like, it was insane. And I actually thought of you because this was officiated very similarly to a WNBA or what you have been saying, a college game.
It is, I mean, Farah brings it up. First comment, Scott Foster needs to be investigated tonight. Everyone go read Chris Hines' piece tomorrow in the Star Tribune. He talked to the refs after the game to kind of get some clarification on things. I'm sure he'll have all of that over on his Star Trib piece. But I mean, it was insane. It made no sense. The amount of replays and stoppages and just... It's like Scott was like, I just don't want to go back to the airport, so I'm going to drag this out as long as possible. I mean, yeah, it was very reminiscent of a WNBA game where it's just there was no rhyme or reason to anything.
No, and like, and it was like, first he was calling everything and nothing was being called, and people were like jumping on top of each other, like that. One of the last plays of overtime, and I'm like, and no whistle was blown. I didn't know what was going on.
I mean, it just like, my big thing is like, if the officiating is going to be bad, like, let's just make it consistently bad the same way for both teams throughout the entire game. Like he called Kevin Durant for a carry at one point in this game. Like that, there's a carry that gets called every 6 games. Like, what are we? Anyways, that's a sidebar. But like, if it's going to be bad, just make it consistently bad. Like, if you're going to be overcritical and call everything, like, do it. And if you're going to just let them play, like, let them play. But there was just like these periods of time where it was like way too physical and you think like a fight's gonna break out, and then like 3 minutes of game time later it would be like 6 fouls in like 2.5 minutes. Farah adds a 25-10 free throw differential is ridiculous. Finch actually brought it up in the post-game presser. The Wolves shot 62 shots in the paint and got 10 free throws. That's just insane.
And like, the Wolves fouled, and we know that they do, but that doesn't mean that Houston wasn't fouling.
It was again, like, I'm glad the game ended up being like Wolves win. They kind of righted the wrong for all of the weird calls and things like that happened. But like, again, it's just such a weird officiated game that I don't know how you get flow if you're doing that. Like, I'm surprised so many guys were shooting as well as they were in this game. But then at the same time, like on the Houston side, all the stoppages seem to kind of like help Kevin Durant get to the end of the game, because he looked like he was absolutely gassed in the third quarter.
Well, and he was dead in the water, right? He wasn't shooting. He barely made anything. Like the first like 4 quarters of the game, he's not making anything besides free throws. Like he could not, nothing was going in. And then overtime starts, and then it's like, Kevin Durant from 10 years ago, and people around us were leaving, and I'm like, oh great, he's starting to shoot well now. And I'm like, this is not what I want to see right now. But it was just insanity.
He got his like get back dunk on Jaden, like in front of Houston's bench, and then it seemed like that just like ignited him. But like no one else could hit a shot on Houston. Like it was just, I don't know. I think I leave this game feeling more confident that like if the Wolves match up with Houston in the playoffs, like I just don't know what Houston's move is. Like it is just a lot of Kevin Durant. Like it is so much Kevin Durant's, where like, I mean, Jaden was able to pretty much lock him up until he got hurt, right?
Yeah, that it seemed like that. And I think you add even one of Io or Ant into the mix, and this game I think looks much different. And I think if the Wolves were to meet Houston, I am pretty confident that we would have a good shot at beating Houston, because
same.
Like every 3-point shot that Shangun took, my husband's like, just let him do it. And he didn't. Yeah. I don't think did he make any threes? I don't think so.
I don't remember him making one. I know Jabari Smith made a couple, and that was kind of annoying, but I will check.
That was annoying because I felt like that was. I was worried that was kind of an avalanche that was coming on to the Wolves, because he was making every three. It felt like he was making every three that he took. So I was worried that that's going to be where the Wolves kind of let go of the ropes. But, the half came around, and then again, nobody was shooting anything.
I mean,
making anything.
Especially like Reed Shepherd getting overtime. And again, like I'm just kind of stuck on like how this Houston team plays. Like I don't understand how they're going to be successful in the playoffs, which is probably really like dismissive of a team that's won a lot of games. But it's like Reed Shepherd shot 10 threes. Like that's kind of what they resorted to at a certain point, was like Kevin Durant draw a double and then make sure he gets to Reed Shepherd, and he bricked 8 of them. Like that's just Jabari Smith went 2 for 6. It felt like he shot way better than that. Like it's going to be really interesting to see how this team, like if Houston even advances around, because weird team. I did want to get your thoughts though, because you and me are basically the presidents of the Mike Conley Club. What were your thoughts of Chris going with Mike?
I think it was the right choice. In our Timberwolves group chat, people were like, "Why is Finch going with Mike?" But I think that it made sense, because then all the rest of the guys could come in at their usual times. And Mike looked very fresh. The shot wasn't the best. I think he took a couple of threes that didn't go in. But I think he was quick on his feet. And the playmaking and kind of the calming the kids down was also there. So it was so exciting to see Mike out there. I think that was a good choice, because otherwise you wouldn't have had anyone coming off the bench to give you anything.
Well, like Dante and Rudy kind of joked in the locker room afterwards of just like, fresh legs Mike is pretty good still. And Dante even kind of like referenced like Finch's, like it's hard, like the hardest thing in my career not to play him. And Dante's just like, I mean, he has a game like tonight, and like, how do you not play him? Like 5 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, great defense, hit a floater, hit a 3 that kind of started the run in overtime. Like, it really is kind of just the vibe of like settling everybody down, though, that I think Finch kind of said, like, we wanted to keep rotations right. I felt like we needed more of a passer in the starting lineup. Like,
Yeah.
I think all that's true, but I think there's also just like, if you put Bones in the starting lineup, that can get real sketchy real fast if they're
Right.
just
And today
running full speed, missing shots.
And today he didn't have it, right? And from like John's reporting, like today is a really hard day for him. But his shot wasn't there today. So I think that would have been a real slug for the starting lineup, and I think that would have affected his kind of like mental space as well, and his confidence, because you're given such a big role starting, and then you just like. Tonight was just not his night, compared to what he was doing in Boston. But yeah, I think it was a good choice.
Yeah. I mean, these are just the things where it's like, I think if you go with Mike, everybody on the team's just kind of like, yeah, makes sense. All right. Mike hasn't played in like 3 weeks. Like we see him in practice every day. Like, let's see what he can give us. I wouldn't be surprised if the next game Mike is back to like not playing on Saturday. But it's nice to like for Finch to have this as an option, I guess, to just 28 minutes because they're injury plagued. The other guy I really wanted to talk about tonight, well, there's a couple. Like first, Jaden was exceptional. Like even after he got injured, still gutting it out. Like this might have been one of the best Jaden games of the season, right?
Yes, he looked fantastic, and I think on the Wolves, like I think he had the best shooting because nobody could shoot anything on the Wolves side either. Yeah. That's why like all the quarter, like at one point I kept looking at the time. I'm like, are we still in the first quarter? Because I was like, okay, we're like close to being at halftime, and no, we were still in the first quarter. Like nobody was shooting anything, and Jaden was just amazing, and I was so bummed that he got hurt because I think he wanted to like give KD his leg back after KD dunked on him. But yeah, he looked really really good, and he didn't get
this
technical because
which like there are certain guys like KD, Booker, Brooks, like guys that Jaden just seems to like always play better against. I have a secret theory that he needs to like strongly dislike somebody on every team and he'll be like an all-star just from pure spite. But like his shot looked good again tonight. He hit like a step back, like above the break three. He looked like, again, it sucks that he went down injured, but he looked awesome for almost every minute, which I mean, if you didn't watch the game, 25 points, 2 rebounds, that doesn't really sound great. 2 steals, 2 blocks, like that's Jaden-y type of stuff. But it was, I mean, I would put this up there with like the Portland game where he scored 30 something. Yeah. This was one of his better games. King, I'm going to throw us over to a quick ad read here quick. And then when we come back, I do want to talk Julius, because I think this was like in danger of being one of the worst Julius games of the season. And then just like all of a sudden it's not. But first, let's throw some ad reads in. Well, hello. Thank you, Livestream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Links podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. And we're back with another ad read, this time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1700 1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. So Julius, I think that's like a couple things. I asked Dante about it after the game of just like, how do you stay confident in a guy that's having the type of game he was? And Dante is like, Julius was having a bad game, and it's like, yeah, it was pretty bad. And like Dante kind of talked a little bit about just Julius's leadership style of like Dante bricked 3 threes in a row all off of Julius passes, and Julius like came up to him at a free throw line and was like, keep shooting it, like just keep shooting it. And Julius kept feeding the ball, kept getting him good looks. And he's like, for a guy to just kind of give up his own rhythm to try and get me like more locked in and in rhythm, like that's why we have confidence in Julius, because like we just have faith in him as a person, which I think that's like part of it. But then it is just like Julius, when he seems locked in, he's just awesome. Like Wolves ended up playing 5 minutes, 34 seconds in clutch time across fourth quarter and overtime. He scores 6 points, 3 of 4 shooting. The only other guy that scored in clutch was Dante's 3. Like, Rudy was excellent when they needed him to be.
You're right. I don't know. I wonder if he's injured, because he seems to have a hard time moving. So I don't know what's going on, because he's had these like very bad games for a couple of weeks, but then he had these like really awesome flashes. But I felt like that took so much energy out of him to kind of like hype himself up, like that last shot that he took, that last two that took the Wolves took them up to. I felt like that just he needed so much energy to get there. So I wonder if he has an injury or something that's nagging at him, because he just seemed the same as he was earlier in the season.
I, at this point, kind of hope there is. Like, I'm not rooting for the guy to get injured, but like, as Baron J. Muse says, slow-mo-esque play. Like, that's kind of what it was. Like, he just like threw his body in there, slow stepped, and like hucked a shot up and it went in. That's kind of what he did at the end of the fourth too. Yeah. But like, there's no other reason for him to be playing kind of this out of sorts. Like, the trade deadline is come and gone. Like, Ant's not in the game, so he doesn't have to worry about like shots or where he's getting the ball in the rhythm. I mean, I kind of thought maybe like the speed of Bones and Io has been messing with him, but like this game, it's back to Mike. Like, it is at this point kind of like, I know John Krasinski has talked about it a couple times that he's been dealing with different things throughout the season, but like this point, it does kind of feel like maybe he just is actually hurt and needs like a week off, but they can't give him one. I don't know if that makes it better, but it would at least like explain it, because
I mean,
it does seem odd.
Yes, he seems off. He does not seem the same player, and like to the eye test, like anybody who's been to a game with me or watched a game with me knows that I don't really like the Julius back down a player, but I know that I also know that it is effective, because I've seen it work for like a year and a half now since he's been here. But for the last several weeks since the trade deadline and since All-Star weekend, like it's just not working. Like he can't do it.
Which it's not working like at all. Like even the passes out of them seem like not as crisp. Like again, I guess at this point, like if the Wolves ended up like getting knocked out in the first round or something, I would almost expect like a Julius Randle has like a torn labrum or something report to come out, because it's just been so off, which again, it's nice that he can muster it when he needs to, but yeah, it's been tough.
That last shot to me looked like he used every ounce of energy that he had left, and if we would have had to go into double overtime, he would have like collapsed on the court. Unfortunately,
They might have had to like drag him off.
yeah, like they're like, okay, we're bringing in Julian Phillips because like we don't have anybody. But
I mean, that was like the crazy part is they really didn't have anyone. Like
at one point,
Jaden
there were
goes
4
out injured,
people on the
Nas gets
court.
tossed. Like, yeah.
At one point, there were 4 people on the court. I think Dante had to tell the ref, like, we need another guy. You know, in case of emergency, just bring in Mike Conley.
Yeah, I mean that. Again, it worked tonight, so it wouldn't be the worst thing. Baron J. Muse asks how long do they get between the playoffs. Cole is spot on-ish. It's normally about a week. Play-in games give them a little bit of time off, so maybe that's like the logical play is just try and figure out your seeding, and then you can rest Julius the last like couple games. But also like Julius isn't a really like rest injury management type of guy. Like if he's good enough to play, he's going to play. Like that's the one weird thing with the Wolves. Like they got a lot of, I shouldn't say that's the one weird thing. That's add another weird thing to the list with the Wolves. Like they got a bunch of guys that would like, they play through everything. Like there's not like a lot of, let's just take this game off or load management stuff. Which
I wonder. I also wonder, like, how who had to yell at Ant that he wasn't able to play. That like you need to sit out.
I mean, that's kind of the, and I know he was getting a little dogged online for like not being at the last few games, but like you look at Ant tonight, like the dude's jumping up and down, like running halfway onto the court. Like the guy had runner's knee. The only way you can heal that is literally just not do anything on it. Like I think they might have just told him like, hey man, like stay home for your own good and like don't come near here because you're going to do more damage jumping up and down off the bench than like actually being in the game.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone had to like, you know, tranquilize him to like not move and not be at the games or just like not be on his feet. But yeah, I can definitely see that because he's not the I want to sit out guy.
And again, like you see it tonight, like he's standing for almost the entire game. He's like throwing towels around and yelling at Scott Foster and doing like all of the Ant stuff. And it literally is like your injury that you have. You need to have ice on your knee and be like in bed for as long as it takes.
You need to elevate it.
With it elevated and a wrap on it. And like it's just one of those weird things where it's like they probably did have to be like, go home. Don't come near us. Like just go home. Which,
they deactivated his card. He can't come into targets.
They just sanded off his fingerprints and sent him home. Come back when they grow back.
Exactly.
I mean, again, it's nice to see him. He was doing workouts the last couple days at practice, so I do think he's close. Cole asked if he'll be back on Saturday. I'd kind of be surprised if it's Saturday, but I guess like 2 more days of kind of ramping up and seeing where he's at. That would be just about 2 weeks, I guess. So, I mean, he could be.
Here's what I want. I want him to be suited up and come in for like a minute so that he can go on the sheet that he was in the game so that he doesn't miss out on postseason awards because the 65 game rule is stupid. And I think he is very much close because I think he could have missed 5 games. They've played 3 now without him. I can't remember, but he needs to come in for like a minute and then go sit down. But I think if he like puts his jersey on, they might not be able to like they would need to like glue him to his seat. But that's what I want. I don't want him to miss out on postseason awards because of the stupid 65 game rule.
Yeah, that really backfired on them. Like I kind of thought that rule was kind of dumb from the start of just like, I don't know, like if the MVP only plays 55 games, like means he had a really good MVP year if we're all overlooking that. Like we just saw Fee kind of get penalized for not playing enough games. Like I think voters kind of figure that stuff out on their own. Now we're going to have like an MVP where it's going to be like Jaylen Brown, who is the 7th best player in the league this year. Like,
Yeah.
nothing against Jaylen Brown, but it's gonna be really weird looking back on this season in history when it's like Julius Randle is gonna be all NBA second team because there's not enough forwards to like fill the rosters, which
correct.
Happy for Julius. The bonus is gonna feel nice in his bank account, but like again, looking back on this season 20 years ago, it's gonna be like Julius Randle was like all NBA second team scoring 22 points a game. Like,
and here we are talking about how bad he was in this game.
I know, like it's wild.
And Adam Silver was double down on it today. Like he just came out with a statement today, and I think it was kind of in a response to Cade Cunningham's agent talking about how it's unfair. But it's a stupid rule to double down on.
It absolutely is. And that's like, there's so many dumb things in the NBA. Like, pick a different stupid rule, but pick like the charge block calls, like double down on that. Like, let's get the awards back to how it always was. I'm also full for we need positions on all NBA teams. So thank God I don't have a vote. I'd mess everything up. I guess like moral of the story, like if Ant is not 100%, like this team needs 100% Ant to go anywhere in the playoffs. So like until he is 100% ready to go, reacclimated, his endurance is back, like I would just keep sitting him until like literally until like the doctors say he is 1000% to go. But yeah, that being said, like Ant's not really a guy that's gonna not try and play.
Right. And he's like, I don't think that like sitting out was a problem in the NBA. I think it's just something that they came up with. And we know, since we have been following Ant and we've seen all his games, that he doesn't do that. He doesn't sit if he's literally not injured. So it's just so stupid rule. Such a stupid rule.
It's so dumb. Also, Cole adds that I have also been seeing Jaden not making an all defensive team. That would be criminal. If Jaden and Rudy don't make all defensive first team. Like, I understand the Wolves are like 9th in defensive rating now, but like the drop off from Rudy and Jaden to anyone else on this team defensively is wild. Like wild if he doesn't make it. Trying to think here. I guess the only other thing, someone in the chat earlier brought up no Jalen Clark tonight. Like, I don't know. It kind of seemed like a weird. They were trying to get Bones going. I think Dante was playing well enough. Mike was kind of taking the IO minutes. Like, I think Jalen, this is just the reality of his NBA life, is sometimes he's going to get 10 minutes and other times he's going to get 0. I did like really think it was surprising that TJ got time in overtime. What were your thoughts on TJ?
I think it was maybe just a size issue because we didn't have any like agile bigger player who could move around, and I think that's where TJ came in. And maybe Finch thought that he could be faster and do some things on offense if we needed it. So that's kind of like my take on why it was TJ.
Which, I mean, shout out TJ. He had like the most up and down roller coaster of emotional game like ever. Drops a couple passes, then gets the crucial rebound off of the Durant miss, but then steps out of bounds and then tips the pass. So great job, TJ, like riding that wave. Because he could have lost the game and won the game like 4 times.
And this was a very classic Timberwolves experience. Like, if I had a friend whose husband's first game was this, and I'm like, you've seen the entire smorgasbord of what Timberwolves basketball is, because it's just, everyone on this team can do the worst and the best in the same game. And we saw that with Julius, we saw that with DJ. Very few guys were consistent. And
I mean,
almost
literally the last 10 minutes of this game, like the last 5 minutes of the fourth and 5 minutes of overtime, were the most Timberwolves performance. I think, like, if an alien landed here and was like, what's the Timberwolves? Like, that's what you show them. Like, this has been the season. They can do anything, and they can also trip over anything. I mean, the Wolves now, they're kind of seated, I guess, like firmly in the 5 seed. I don't know how much we want to get into standings, but like Denver is still catchable. I think LA is probably a little bit out of reach now, but at the same time, like, they have a game and a half lead over the Rockets now. That might just be that they're either the 4 or 5 seed, which unfortunately means they're playing the Nuggets in the first round, which is kind of been my worst case scenario for the last half of the season. But, you know, I guess like,
and the Nuggets are still injured, and they can get not injured by the time that the playoffs start, which probably won't be the best for the Wolves.
Which, like, I guess if there's a silver lining, like, they have a 5-game lead over the Suns now. So, like, the play-in, the Wolves would have to, like, cataclysmically collapse for them to fall out of the playoffs. Again, half game behind the Nuggets, 2 behind the Lakers, and then they're a game and a half above the Rockets. So, like, they're kind of locked into where they're at, but at the same time, weirder things could happen. I mean, the Wolves could also, like, rip off 8 wins out of the last 9, but man, it's just, I guess, like, where I'm kind of going with this is if before the season, like in September, if someone would have went up to you and said, like, hey, the Wolves are going to finish as the 4 or 5 seed and have like 53 wins on the season, like, would you feel as disappointed as like a lot of fans are feeling right now with this team? Because I battle with that, because I think, like, if someone would have told me like the win-loss and where they finished, I'd be like, wow, that's a pretty good season. But I think from like a lot of the fans, it's just been a lot of like dread and despair and just kind of wanting this to be over.
I think because to the eye test, it just looks so up and down. And I think that, like, because there is lack of consistency of what type of Wolves you are going to see from game to game or from quarter to quarter, you're always feeling like you are on quicksand. So you never know what's going to happen. And I think that there's also lack of identity. So there hasn't been anything that, like, we can like hang our hats on, right? Like, okay, like, they're a defensive team and they are going to lock in on defense, and that's what's going to happen. We're a transition team. We're going to lock into transition, and we're going to run. We are this, that, or the other thing. Like, nothing. There hasn't no identity formed in this season, and I think that that's also kind of disarming as a fan, because you're like, what is happening? So, like, you're like, oh, we're 4th or 5th, but I'm like, I think the expectations were higher, and I think that there was an expectation that this team is going to have some sort of identity, and they have outperformed themselves without having any sort of like identity or kind of like cohesion throughout this entire season.
That's, to me, I like completely agree with that. It's been the lack of identity for me. Is like, all season they've kind of been a top 10 offensive team, a top 10 defensive team. They're not like the best at sharing the ball, but they're not the worst. They're not like a terrible turnover team. They're just average. For a while they were like the best shooting team in the league, but that's kind of fallen off a little bit. So it's like, you don't know what's going to show up any given night. Like, you don't know if they're going to just show up and win a game like 140 to 135, or if, I mean, the last 5 games they've had the best defense in the league, which is just like, where did that come from?
Like,
I mean,
since when did we start playing defense? Who's playing defense?
Literally, like, it's just been so hard as like someone who covers the team to just know what to expect, because it changes constantly, which, like, I think that's a fair point, that goes into the fan base too, of just like, if you're going to a random Wolves game, you just you don't know if you're going to have fun or not. I mean, Farah also adds there's been 10 to 13 games they should have won, and we probably should be near the 2 seed, but you know, you lose that game to Phoenix and Sacramento, and that kind of set the tone. Pack mentality says they thrive in chaos, but at least the vibes are good now. I mean, vibes are immaculate now. Like, again, I'm not going to sit here and say like Ant being gone is good for the team, because I think objectively, like, this team doesn't go anywhere without Ant.
No.
But
and that has been popping up on the internet, and I want to tell people to take a seat and maybe go out and enjoy the sun. Grass is coming up, like touch grass. Because what are people talking about? It is absolutely bonkers insanity. I made a video on TikTok talking about this person, and it's like, I'm not saying that Ant should leave. What are we, like, honestly?
Yeah.
Honestly, just because a team can, like, Boston beat OKC tonight, right? I'm pretty sure they did. Like, we could have lost so badly to the Celtics, but there are times in adversity when teams come together and they can rally and perform better than the sum of their parts without their best player. How are we jumping from that to this team is better without Ant, that the vibes are better without Ant? And I'm not saying that Ant should leave. It is just beyond.
It's just like the Ringer just came out with their player rankings, and Ant's ranked as the 6th best player in the league. And like, yes, he has problems. Does he need to run all the way to the corners on fast breaks? Yes. Does he need to move a little better without the ball? Certainly. Does he need to pay a little more attention off ball so he doesn't get back cut twice a game? Certainly. But he is like the most gifted scorer since like Curry. Like, we're not better off. We're not better off without him. I think the team has been able to figure out their roles a little bit better without him, and they've been playing very well. But like, if like the best version of Ant can just get dropped into what they're doing now, like, this is a championship contender.
Yeah. And nobody on this team can get their own shot. Besides, because we just talked about the fact that Julius can't get his own shot. The other guys need other guys to get their shot. The only 2 real shot creators in the starting lineup are Ant and Julius is struggling, and there's no Ant. What are we talking about?
It's literally, to me, it's just been like their attention to detail and effort level has gone through the roof. Like, their defense has been phenomenal. Like, they have not played defense this way the entire season. And I don't know if it's because like they now have to, but I
think that's it. Like,
that's kind of my working theory, is they just back themselves into such a corner where now they have to be the best defensive team in the league, and they just are able to do it.
Because they're like, well, if we can't make shots, we need to make sure that the other team doesn't score on us. That's how we're winning.
Exactly. So like, I think like part of it is that, but also it's just like, I just think of Ant coming back, if it's the same effect as Julius coming back last season, where he's just able to watch, get film, kind of figure things out, and then come back into this team just going like, hey, Io gets really easy shots when he just runs in transition. And then you're kind of unlocking Ants a little bit, but we'll see. Again, I think they have set everything up for them to take the hardest route to win a championship. And that seems very fitting for this team. King, I do want to give you the chance here, though. Anything you want to plug? Any last thoughts you have here before we get out of here?
Yes, we are not better without Anthony Edwards. That is
stamped.
And it couldn't be me on here talking with you if I don't mention Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson.
Awesome Kyle game.
Awesome Kyle game. You know, in that's like one of the levers that Finch really loves, and he can't play Mike as much because of can't play Mike as much, but he is going to play Kyle Anderson. And were there those dreaded lineups with both Rudy and Kyle and then Mike on the floor? And I'm like, who is shooting on this team? I don't know, because Mike had not the best shooting game from him, but Kyle had an awesome game, and and always Dante being the absolute dog. And whoever has anything bad to say about Dante should also take a step back.
Which Dante is bringing a dog that is available for adoption to the game on Saturday.
Oh, is he bringing
I believe
another
it
one?
was. Yep. So when he brings dogs to the games, they are available for adoption. They're normally pit bulls because Dante is a pit bull dad.
And I am a pit bull mom. See, connection.
Exactly. But 8-year-old pit bull, super friendly, super loving, obviously awesome, because I don't think they would trust Dante to bring in a dog if it was going to like have any risk of biting off his arm. But rough start rescue is the name of the rescue he goes with. So if anyone wants the dog that Dante brought to the game last week and is bringing to the game on Saturday, he is up for adoption. So fun fact for everybody out there. All righty. So if anyone joined into this a little bit late, this does get posted over on YouTube, and X lives on forever as soon as we end the stream. It will be out this morning. Gross. March 26th, Thursday at 7 a.m. for anyone that wants to catch the recap a little bit later. Go rescue dogs. KingaBee, anything else you have to leave people with?
No. Come on and follow me on TikTok at KingaBee, and I have all my hot takes there, and I still need to post my Minnesota Mike minutes tracker that is now up to 54 minutes and 27 seconds.
To the second she tracks it. All right. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. We'll be back after the Detroit game on Saturday. And for any WNBA fans still hanging in here, we did do a Missing Links podcast live stream thing, breaking down what the expansion draft rules will be. That's on the YouTube feed as well. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye. See you Saturday. Bye.